So today we're talking with James George. He's a real estate agent at eXp Realty. And today we're going to be doing a friendly real broker versus eXp debate. We're going to take turns explaining each company's benefits, including their technology, the training, the costs and fees, the stock awards, the revenue share you can earn at both companies to help you make the most informed decision about which company is best for your business. By all means, if you think that eXp is a better fit for you, feel free to reach out to James. I have all his contact information at the end of this video. If you think RealBroker is a better fit for your business, I'd be happy to hop on a video call with you as well. I'll talk to you more about RealBroker. James, how you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I really appreciate you coming on my channel and doing this for me. I think this should be really educational for the viewers, just kind of getting the side-by-side comparison. Do you mind starting off? Tell me a little bit about what first attracted you to eXp and kind of drew you over there.
So when I first became an agent, I joined Berkshire Hathaway. I realized that they were a bit of a dated agency with how I wanted to be a real estate agent. I got kind of bought by Compass. They offered me financial gains, and it was a very shiny, lovely company to go with. So I went over to Compass, and then at that same time, I started using a real estate coach, and he was with, I think, Remax at the time, and he moved over to eXp. First told me about the opportunity, and I was with an amazing company, I thought at the time, and I was like, there's no way in a million years I'm ever going to leave. And then just over time, he told me more about it, and for me, it was different reasons. One of them was he had an amazing opportunity where I was actually paying him, I think, £1,000 a month for him to be my real estate coach. And he said, look, I'm going to completely scrap my whole business plan, and I'm going to offer my whole coaching platform completely for free for anyone who joins eXp underneath me or underneath anyone else. So for me, that was a massive incentive straight away. And that was probably one of the main reasons I joined. But he also talked about the revenue share. Now, that was absolutely massive for me, because I could see the value of helping other real estate agents grow their business. I love coaching people. I love helping people myself. And if they joined underneath me, I could then actually get money from them without having to charge them a fee for coaching, etc. So that was really important. Now, obviously, stock was part of it as well, knowing that at the time eXp wasn't valued ridiculously highly, and I could see that the company was growing and there could be an opportunity to make money from the stock. And we'll talk about more about that later. And another big thing for me really was I wanted to run my own business and feel like I had control of it. And at Compass, it always felt like I was James George of Compass, and it wasn't James George, and it wasn't my. I was branding myself the British real estate team, and it was more about Compass than it was about me. But with eXp, it felt like I had, even though there's obviously legalities and what you've got to do on your, for sale boards and your advertising, but it felt more like it was my brand, and eXp was just a small part of that, as opposed to at Compass, it was all about Compass and not really anything about me. So, I mean, there's probably a lot more reasons, but they were the main reasons why I made the move.
Right. Yeah, those are all great reasons. And just for kind of clarity for the viewers, where are you located at right now? Where do you sell real estate at?
So at the time, I was in California. I was in Carlsbad, California. So I spent 5 amazing years there. And then 2 years ago, I came back to the UK, and I was very fortunate that I joined a company that was also set up in the UK already. So I now sell real estate in the UK, and I've still got an involvement in the US, but my main real estate focus now really is in the UK, and I'm with eXp in the UK, and it was a very easy transition.
Oh, good, man. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit about how I ended up at RealBroker. I got out of the Air Force and got into real estate in 2016, 2017. And I've been doing, I can consider myself a YouTuber. I've been doing YouTube for 12, 13 years now, and got very heavily involved with video in my real estate business fairly early on. And I connected with a lot of other like-minded agents who are very involved with video and social media and just doing innovative stuff. And in 2021, beginning of the year, a lot of my friends came over to RealBroker. and like a lot of these big video influencer agents like Tim Macy, Brad McCallan. And so I started talking to them, and I ended up on a call with them and Tamir, the CEO of the company. And I just really loved his vision. And his vision for the company was to have the best experience for the real estate agents. So he says he doesn't want to be, his North Star is not to be the biggest real estate company out there or have the most, agents or anything. His North Star is the best experience for the real estate agents. And he believes that everything else will kind of fall into place if you can achieve that. And so for me, a big reason I came over was the culture of the company and the culture of the agents coming over there. There's a lot of tech focused agents, a lot of innovative agents. I really loved, Tamir's vision about the future. And so the community and the culture is definitely a big bonus for me. And then how tech focused the company is as well is something that I really appreciate as well. We also have a fantastic stock program, fantastic revenue share program. But really that vision of the future and the culture and the community is kind of the big driving factors for me coming over. And so speaking of technology, let's dive into some of the value that these two companies actually provide to the agents. Can you give us kind of a rundown of all the main technology components that eXp offers to their agents?
So we're obviously a cloud-based company, very much like Real, and so technology is a massive part of it. So we don't all go to the office every day. We have this world that you can go into, and you have a little avatar, and you can go around, and you can even knock on the door of the CEO or anyone who's really important within the company. So whatever you need at any point, you can speak to anyone, which I really liked. I felt like at some of the other companies, you could only really speak to the manager of your office. What I like about eXp is I personally can go and speak to anyone that I want within that. So that they've got amazing technology in regards to like having your own websites, your own CRMs. What they'll often do is, depending on what country that you're in, but in the US, for example, you have your own CRM, your own website, etc., all included within the price. So for me, that's a massive advantage. Now, do I utilize some of that as much as other people? Myself, I probably don't. The funny thing is I already had my own CRM and stuff system before I came over.
Right.
And I didn't feel I needed a lot of the training that they provided. They had this amazing training where you can go in and they have all of the top icon agents doing training in there every single day, for example. So you can use that to your advantage. Now, I was a more established agent that didn't, and I had my own, coach who did his own separate thing within eXp. But say you're a brand new agent, say you're not as experienced and you want to go to get training, everything that you need is there. All the technology that you need to be a top, realtor is there.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, you guys got eXp World, you've got KV Core, which is included with your monthly costs, and then you have Workplace, which we also use. I heard recently that eXp now has some sort of partnership with Lofty, which used to be called Chime. Do you know anything about that? Like they've made that optional at eXp. Are you familiar with that?
To be honest, I am not someone who's doing day-to-day real estate now in the US, so I'm not 100% sure on that one, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, one of the great things about Real and eXp is they are always looking to partner with other companies that can offer more value and more technology to their customers. So there's always new things coming to the market in regards to eXp to help people with technology.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, so my understanding is that KV Core is included with the price, CRM, and a website. And if you want to get Lofty, you can for an additional fee. They have a huge discount if you wanted to use that instead of KV Core. That's kind of my understanding of that. Yeah, so I can, and you guys use SkySlope, right? Does that sound right?
Yep. Yeah, that is correct.
All right, so I can kind of give you a rundown of the technology that we have here at RealBroker. So first off, we use Workplace, which is also at eXp. It's really how you can connect with the community and how you can message anybody in the company. I talk to the president all the time just through Workplace, and Pritesh Damani, the chief technology officer, Tamir. I can message any of them through Workplace, which is really nice. We have our own proprietary software called Rezen. And so in 2021, bought a technology company that was making technology for real estate agents. They bought the company, and they have the CEO of that company is now our chief technology officer, Pritesh Damani. And he does amazing technology. He is in charge of designing and building all our technology. I have an interview with him, and he's built a lot of proprietary technology. So for example, we don't use SkySlope. We built our own technology that looks like SkySlope, but in my opinion, adds a few extra bells and whistles to it. And kind of the root of our technology is called Rezen. And let me show you this real quick as I'm on my phone here. So Rezen is our agent app and our online dashboard. And our app is my favorite piece of our technology. You can run your entire business right here from this app. You can see how much commission you've earned this capping cycle, how close you are to capping, how close you are to hitting elite agent. If you wanted to focus on rev share, you can see all your rev share numbers right in here. It's beautifully designed. You can see your entire downline as well. And what I love is every transaction, you can see a file for that transaction, get all the details for it, including the co-op agent's contact information, including the title company's contact information for these transactions. And that's super valuable to me. So if I'm driving around and I need to call the title company for one of my transactions, I can pull up my phone, get the title's company contact information, and then call them up right then and there. Through that is also how we get support. You can email support, or we have a 24/7 call center. You can call them up and talk to support right there. So the agent app is amazing. If I get somebody sends me an addendum, for an example, I could be in my car, upload it to Rezen, send that addendum to my client to get a digital signature and get it back all right there on the app. So you can run your entire business mobile with that. All of that is also on desktop as well. You can access all that information on your computer. So we call that Rezen, proprietary software. It's beautifully designed. We won a Fast Company Design Award for that technology. We won an Inman Innovator of the Year Award in 2023 for technology. We also have a partnership with Chime. And so Chime's not included for free, but it's usually $500 a month. And if you want to opt in and get it, you can get it for $40 a month here at RealBroker. And Chime's now called Lofty. I keep forgetting that. And I actually like that they make it optional. You know, like you pointed out, you may already have a CRM that you've been using for years. You may already have a website you've been using for years. It doesn't make sense to make it mandatory that you pay for a service like this if you're not going to use it. So if you want to opt into Lofty, you can do that for $40 a month. Incredibly powerful, you know, CRM and website. You can do geographical farming, where it automatically mails postcards out to people's addresses. You can run Facebook and Google pay-per-click ads through that. You can promote your listings. You can schedule social media posts through that. They have an AI chatbot that can reach out to your leads as soon as they register. And I'm sure KV Core has some of these features as well. And yeah, so I mean, workplace to connect to the community. We have Real Academy, which is where all of our training is. We'll talk about that on the next section. And then we have Rezen, which is our agent app and our agent, our dashboard on desktop. Any other questions? Anything to add on to that before we move on?
No, let's move on.
All right, so let's talk about training. I think this may be one of the areas where the two companies differ with different business models. Can you talk about the training at eXp and how that is kind of facilitated?
Yeah, so whether you're a new agent or an experienced agent, you go into the world and they have millions of different classes all the time, whether it's, you know, previous classes that have already been done that you can have access to, or live classes that you can just go and join and ask questions, for example. So whether you want to learn more about social media marketing or know more about how to use SkySlope, basically every part of your business that you possibly might want to know about. And these aren't just, you know, some guy doing it continuously all day, teaching stuff that he's not had experience on. These are guys sharing their presentations that they give to clients who are closing, you know, $1 billion of real estate. You know, these are top people sharing it, because that's how the icon status works, is that you've got to give back to the community when you reach icon status in order for you to get your stocks and shares, etc. as well. So it's very good for all different types of people. Now, what I would say with that is with eXp is I personally preferred the coaching that I got from Jason and what they did, and obviously he did some coaching through the icon and through it. So I didn't personally myself go in and learn about how to do certain things. I used an outside coaching company that was already with eXp. So it's an amazing resource to use. But I want to be open and honest in this and say I probably didn't use it as much as I should have because I had someone that I connected with myself.
Right. Yeah. And so that is eXp World's on a desktop app. Did I hear that? Is it on mobile now, or did they upgrade it to put it in the browser instead of a separate program?
I'll be honest, whenever I do my real estate work, it is on a desktop. And so I have used it on a desktop. I haven't gone ahead and used it on my phone. I gather most likely you obviously you can still use it on your phone. Either way, you'll be able to do that. But I've always used it on a desktop.
Right. And is that the primary way that you get support in the company, is through the eXp World as well? Like if you wanted to ask your broker a question?
For me, I think workplace is a major place that we will use, and then through email as well. I think everyone's had different experiences with eXp that I know that have been there. Like with any company,
Right.
I think I've always been very fortunate that because of the person that I joined under, he had links to the top, and then I had links to the top, and so I will often deal with email, workplace, or whatever, and so I find that I deal with them in different ways. Often I find email for me because I've got a good relationship with all the people that I need to know within the company.
Right. And so if you wanted to talk to your broker, you have a question about your broker, you typically just email your broker? Is it typical?
I do. It's not probably. It's not. I don't think many other people do. I think a lot of people are encouraged to use Workplace or to go through the app to see them. I'm in a fortunate position that I've got a really good relationship with her. So we talk on email regularly.
Okay. And so another question is, I'm just curious if eXp's changed their policies on this, as far as you know. But the policy there used to be that you can promise free training and coaching and masterminds if somebody puts you as their sponsor into the company or joins your downline. You can do exclusive training just for them. I know, like Mike Richard promises you on his website all kinds of free stuff if you join his downline. Is that still the case at eXp, as far as you know?
I don't know if it has changed, but when I joined, that was definitely the case. And I believe that's one of the big differences than if you join Real, for example, is the fact that you're not really allowed to do that, and so you're joining Real, joining the company. Whereas with eXp, if I had a choice right now whether to join Real or eXp, and I wasn't allowed to join under
no.
then that would probably make a big difference in which company I would join.
Okay, good, man. Yeah, it kind of got chopped up there a little bit, the connection, but that's fine. Cool. Well, let me talk to you a little bit about the training that we have at Real. So kind of the same thing. For us to hit elite agent status, you need to give back to the community somehow. And most people do that by providing monthly training to agents at REALBroker, hosting monthly masterminds. And so all of our training is housed in the Real Academy. And the Real Academy is in your desktop browser. In there, we have over 200 online classes, and that number is constantly growing. We have over 24 reoccurring masterminds in there as well, so either weekly or monthly. So, for example, I teach a monthly mastermind all about YouTube, and it's open to everybody at the company. And every single week, we have about 30 live streams going on every single week. And I'm sure the same thing at eXp, but because we give away so much free stock and so much revenue share, I feel like that has a huge impact on the training at the company that other companies don't experience that. Like, I'm personally probably never going to hit elite agent, but I give all free training because I'm an owner in this company. I want to see this company grow and thrive and do well. And so another nice thing is that all of our training, since it is on a web browser, you can access it all right here on your phone as well. So you can be driving around somewhere and listening to a class or a live stream or a mastermind And I do that often. I'll pull up the training that we have. And kind of one big difference between the two companies is that at RealBroker, it's very clearly stated you're not allowed to promise anything of value in exchange for putting somebody down as your sponsor. And so I can't say, hey, join my downline. I'll give you free training, coaching, mastermind groups. And that's usually off the platform, right? Somewhere else. At RealBroker, our training is open to everybody. So I do monthly training about YouTube. It's not just people in my downline. I give that to everybody in the company, and everybody else in the company gives their training to everybody. So it's really forming one large community, one large network. And it provides us, I think, a lot of value by doing that, because you have access to all the top agents at the company rather than just the people in your downline. And so that is kind of like one distinction. I've heard that, they may be trying to change things at eXp. I'm not really sure, but I'd just say at eXp, there's definitely more of an emphasis on what downline you're in versus, just joining the company. As far as events go, what kind of events does eXp house, like in-person events?
Yeah, they do. They do lots of events internationally for in the US. So they'll do massive events in like Vegas, in Miami. Now I'm living in the UK. We get access to the US one, so we can go over to the US, and anyone from the world can go to those. And then in the UK and Europe, we also have events as well. What I liked about it was, even where I lived, like when I first joined, there was all the eXp agents within the area would meet up locally, for example, as well. So there was a real collaborative environment. And then I think, as you kind of mentioned before, the downline that you are under makes a big difference in eXp compared to Real, probably. Whereas we have quite a few 300 people now that are under Jason, my coach, and we're always there to help each other, and it's a very collaborative environment. In the UK, I have 40 people underneath me in the UK. We have our own, what Americans often don't even know what WhatsApp is, but we have our own WhatsApp group where we are continually chatting and helping each other. We meet up as a group monthly to try and help each other. And so we have a very collaborative environment where even though you feel like you're setting up your own business by yourself, you've got a lot of people that can help you no matter where you are. So it is there is a difference with what you get with eXp and Real. And I think the big difference of eXp really is whoever you join under will dictate your experience probably with that company. I know a lot of people that joined that didn't like eXp because they maybe joined under the wrong person, and then they've left, and then maybe even come back and joined under someone else because they get a lot of help from the people they joined under. So the business model, we talk about the rev share and all of that, but there are some differences, and I think that is one of the big ones.
Yeah. And, I'm not trying to say like one is better than the other as well. Having somebody that, is taking more of an interest in your personal business may not be a bad strategy. And so as far as events here at, Real, we have two major annual events. We have the Rise event, and this changes location every year. So we just had our last one was in San Diego. This next one is going to be in Las Vegas. Our last one, I think we had over 1,000 agents join that. And we've about doubled in size. We're about doubling in size every year. So this next one, I'm expecting to be even bigger. And so that's our first annual event. It's a Rise conference. This is every October. And we also have Real Summit, which is a new one. We're going to have our first ever Real Summit next month, and we're having it in Banff, Canada. So we actually have a pretty big presence up in Canada. So we're going to have this first one in Canada. I'm not sure if it's going to be there every single year or not. It may move around like Rise does, but I'm pretty excited about that. And then we have an annual like digital event. I think it's a 2-day event. I think it's called Real X, and it's just an online event of just really high level training for the agents. And then the agents in the company are often putting on in-person training events. I just came back from the Real Estate Video Blueprint in Austin, in Houston, Texas, as just two real agents that put on this 2-day event. And they invited agents from outside of Real as well, but just And Sharon Shravato is actually speaking at that one. And I got to speak at that event as well. Next month, I'm going to Virginia. I'm speaking at another event that Real agents are putting on. Tamir, the president or the CEO of Real, is going to be speaking at that event as well. So leadership is very encourages agents to put on these in-person events, and will often make appearances at these in-person events to help the agents out, with that as well. So let's talk about other businesses. So I know RealBroker owns a few different businesses within the RealBroker ecosystem, and I'm pretty sure eXp does as well. Do you mind talking about what are the other businesses within eXp?
Yeah, I'm not an expert on this, but is it Verbella that we also own? I think we also own the software. I think it's to like Fortnite, for example, the technology company that owns Fortnite. But we probably own a few more. I'll be honest, I'm not the expert on that particular field. I generally just concentrate on what affects me every single day, rather than what different things eXp are doing. But obviously, I've made good money on the stock. They've invested very well in different companies, so I know we do own a few, but I don't know the ins and outs of them, if I'm completely honest.
Right, that's fine. Yeah, I think you guys have Verbella, which owns eXp World, I believe. I think you have Success Magazine, which I think is like a literal print magazine. And then what? Yeah, you may have a few other companies like that. Okay, well, I can talk about RealBroker. So, it's not when I first joined, Tamir's vision was to reimagine or have the best experience for the real estate agent. He's now expanded that to have a mission statement of the company, the best experience for the real estate agent and the consumer. And so we're trying to reimagine the experience for the consumer. And so right now, when consumer uses, real agent or a real estate agent in generally we have to say, hey, great, now go talk to this other company. They're the title company. You go talk to this other company. They're a mortgage lender. And we're trying to reimagine that experience and having the agents, our clients, come to us, and we take care of all of that. So we are launching a mortgage company. We actually bought a mortgage company, rebranded it as Real Mortgage. It's a cloud-based mortgage company, so it's using the exact same reZen software that we're using. And we're launching that across country right now. We're probably in like 13, 14 states right now. And we also have a title company, Real Title. And so we're launching that as well. It's also cloud-based, using the same platform, reZen, and we're kind of expanding that statewide as well. And with that, we're launching a consumer app as well. And the vision for this, well, I'm pretty excited about, is that when a client uses us and they get under contract, that's when they get the app. And the app is going to walk them through the entire home buying process, and they're going to get notifications from their real estate agent automatically on where they're at in that process. And if they're using Real Title and Real Mortgage, they're going to get notifications from all three companies on that same platform. So it's kind of our vision of how to reimagine that user experience. So we have the Real Broker, we have Real Mortgage, Real Title, and we're rolling out with a fourth company. And I'm not sure what the company is called, but the app is called the Real Wallet. And I'm really excited about this. It's very innovative. We're actually launching a debit card and credit card for real estate agents to use within the company. And so when you get paid, you can have your money go into the Real Wallet. And if it sits there, you can earn interest on that. And you can have a debit card that you can spend that money using. And when you spend that money on the debit card, you earn points, which is going to pay down your caps and fees at the company and make the company even more affordable. We're also launching a credit card. So, one of the complaints that people have about the stock programs that we have is that they have a 3-year vesting period. So you hit Icon Agent, Elite Agent, you have to wait 3 years before you can actually access those stocks. With the credit card, they can use that stock as collateral to extend you a line of credit on your credit card. Or they can say, hey, look, he's projected to make $50,000 in revenue share. We're going to use that projection as collateral to extend him a line of credit. And by using the credit card, you earn points, which is going to pay down your caps and fees. And so this is going to be kind of a fourth stream of income into RealBroker, is going to be this credit card and debit card business. And I've heard somebody in leadership say that this could actually be a bigger stream of income into RealBroker's business than the actual brokerage model itself, which is pretty interesting. So we are really more of a technology company at this point, right? reZen is our platform. And then we have all these other businesses that are kind of being built off of our reZen platform. So now let's jump into, so we kind of went over all the value propositions of the two companies. Let's jump into the costs and fees to be an agent at eXp. And do you mind breaking that down? I'll pull up the slide as soon as I find it. Here it is.
Yeah, so obviously we have a 16,000 cap. It'll probably come up in a minute. Yeah. So how that works out is it's an 80-20 split. So you spend 20% of your commission will go to eXp up until 16,000. So that was one of the reasons I moved. I think at the time, I had a very, very good split with Compass at the time, but I still paid to them. It was something like 42,000 or something over the previous year. And so straight away, I'm looking at it going, well, I've got my pocket if I cap at 16,000. And stuff you've got at your company, but I don't get money to their brokerage if they're not getting back in something in return. Whereas like, okay, I only have to pay 16,000, and then there are obviously a lot of other factors how I can earn money on top of that. So that was good. Monthly fees, 149 per month. Obviously the startup fee, you've got a cloud brokerage fee of 85, transactional review fee, £40 risk management fee, etc. as well. Another big thing was that, like your insurance was astronomically expensive at other companies, whereas this was included, really it felt like it was included and you weren't spending a ridiculous amount of money up front. And so the upfront costs of being with eXp and the cap was very attractive. I know Real, obviously you have your fees that you'll talk about in a minute. Personally, I feel if you're with a brokerage and you're paying more money than this, then you should be looking at other options.
Yeah, 100%. I'll talk to agents sometimes and kind of crunch the numbers, and they can save 30,000, 40,000, sometimes $100,000 a year for major teams at really either one of these companies. It's amazing how much more affordable these companies are when you don't have all that overhead cost of running a franchise and running a brick and mortar office. And like, truthfully, nobody, the vast majority of us, don't really need a brick and mortar, office anymore. Like it's a nice thing to have, but when I ask them like, hey, is it worth $50,000 a year to have that office space? It's pretty obvious that
you can still have your own office. So a really good example is a guy called Pete Middleton at eXp in La Jolla, and he's got a very sexy office in La Jolla, which is an unbelievably expensive place in San Diego. And he had an office beforehand. He owned the office and he kept the office when he moved to eXp. So you can still, if you want to, have an office, but it's your decision.
Right.
And you're not spending. I mean, effectively, I was spending quite a few thousand to my previous companies for having an office when I didn't need an office. I actually prefer working from home. I don't like having distractions. The truth is, people that go to the office generally aren't busy agents. They go there to just talk to other people and feel like they're busy. The busy agents are out at showings. They're out there doing real estate. They're not actually in the office.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I used to have to drive 30 minutes just to get to my office. And yeah, there'd be people knocking on my door. There'd be, my brokerage trying to tell me like, hey, there's a birthday party. You got to come and join in. You got, hey, the title company is doing a presentation. We want max participation in this, training, and all these, yeah, just a lot of distractions out there. And you're absolutely right. At REALBroker, obviously you can have your own office space as well. We have a lot of agents who do that. A lot of teams rent out an office space. And even getting your own office space is probably a heck of a lot more affordable than, being a cloud brokerage and paying for your own office is going to be a lot more affordable for most agents than being at a.
Another big thing is I actually joined one of these at one point because I ended up working by myself at home. But at one point I joined one of these like WeWork type places. And that's one of the things you actually, with eXp, you can go and actually use an office if you want. So we do actually have access to offices, right?
Yeah, tell me more about that.
I ended up doing one of these sexy places where you've got lots of different companies within it. Now, I did that. One of the main reasons is so that I can get other people's business.
Right.
because they would do lots of fun events every month where all the businesses would come together, and it was one of these cool places where you got free beer and all of this, and often when you went and got your lunch, you'd grab a beer and you'd sit with someone, and I got business from being in that. Now, you're not going to get business from being with other realtors in your same company. So I highly advise being with a cloud-based brokerage. You've got more control over what you want to do.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Tell me more about the WeWork program that they have. Do you have to pay? You still have to pay to have access to it, I'm guessing, right?
No, so you have access to all of them. Like in the UK, we have a different company that, but you basically have access to offices, and so you can just drop in and you can just use their open workspace. You don't actually have like a dedicated office, but you can use the open workspace, and obviously there's lots around that you can just use.
Okay, cool.
Well, I think it's Regis in America. I know in England we use Regis as well, so you can use the Regis offices.
Okay, cool. Well, let me break down the costs and fees that we have here at RealBroker. So we have an 85-15 split with a $12,000 a year cap, and we have no monthly fees, but we do have an annual fee of $750, and this gets taken out of your first 3 transactions a year, $250, $250, $250. We also have a one-time sign-up fee of $249, and we have a $30 E&O insurance fee per transaction. Now, while you're paying the 85-15 split, you don't have a cap, or sorry, you don't have a transaction fee. But after you cap, which is usually about 7 transactions, then you keep 100% of your commission, but you have a $285 transaction fee. After you hit elite agent status, that number goes down to $129 transaction fee. And of course, if you're a team member, you get a half a cap of $6,000 per team member. And if the team leader hits 129, I'm pretty confident that all the team members get that 129 transaction fee as well. So what I like about our model is that when you join, other than the sign-up fee, you don't pay any fees at all until you have money coming in. So once you have money coming in, then you pay the annual fee, then you pay the E&O insurance fee. But other than that, yeah, there's no money coming out until you close the transaction, unless you want to sign up for Lofty, which is $40 a month, and that's completely optional. So let's break down the stock award programs, and part of that is like the Elite Agent Award and the Icon Award at eXp as well. Do you mind talking about the different ways to earn stock at eXp?
Yeah, so off the top of my head, I don't know the exact numbers of how much stock you get at what point, but I do know that when you first close your first transaction, you get stock. I know that when you cap, you get stock. I know that when you bring on agents to eXp, you get stock as well. I was unbelievably fortunate that I joined at a point when it was very low and it went extremely high. And so I made very good money from just not really doing anything, just doing what you would normally do as a real estate agent. And then all of my stock went through the roof. So I was really fortunate with that. And then obviously now it continues. We also have it where a percentage you can get, I think it's 5% of your commission at going into stock.
Mm-hmm.
Get a discount on that as well. Very similar. What's up there? I'm sure you probably have exactly the same at a Real. So it's one of those where I don't really think about the stock. I just get on with my business, and then you end up just getting this bonus. And it's nice when you go in and check it and you go, wow. I made the mistake of taking mine out far too early because I checked it once and I was like, oh my Lord, I've made loads of money. I took it out and then it went up 10 times, I think what it was when I took it.
God.
So that's obviously part of dabbling in the stock market, like essentially we are. But no, it's for me, it's just another bonus that you just don't get. And I mean, I know that people had stock in Compass, and Compass unfortunately didn't reach the levels that everyone was hoping and there are. So we've been very fortunate at eXp that our stock has always been at a very good level, and it's a company which is always making profit because of the fact we don't have massive overheads. and it's a cloud-based brokerage, and we don't have a million middle management that we're paying. The great thing is the fact that the company is always done well in regards to its stock levels.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. And tell me a little bit about the Icon Award, because this actually is kind of confusing for some folks. And so you guys, I know it's up to $16,000, and that's actually broken up into 3 separate awards, 3 separate requirements. Do you mind kind of breaking down?
Yeah, so you get basically icon status if you reach a certain amount of transactions, or you do a certain amount of commission volume. So it's off the top of my head, I think it was something like 40 odd transactions that, it depends on your level, but just to give you a rough idea, it's around, say, 40 transactions. It obviously depends on where you are in the States and how much your commission and all of that. But just to give you a rough idea, if you're a top agent, you will reach icon status. Then what happens is that 16,000 that you've effectively paid back, you get back in stock. But you have to reach certain requirements. They're not just going to give it to you for free. You've got to make sure that you give back to the community. So we talked about that earlier in regards to training, etc. You've also got to make sure that you go to the events. So the events that we talked about earlier, like in Vegas and Miami, for example, you effectively get stock and get paid for going to the events. You don't just get the 16,000 handed to you, but you've got to do some things to get it. But for top agents, it's obviously, once again, just a no-brainer if you are a top agent to do something like this. And if you actually work out the numbers, okay, I'm paying 50,000 to my agency for this, but I'm going to pay 16,000 to eXp, but I'll get the 16,000 back in stock. And then we'll obviously talk about revenue share, etc., that you get later, all the extra stock. For me, it was a no-brainer once you actually spend your time working out the math.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I love that, all it requires you to do is just sell real estate. You're hitting certain production requirements in your company. And so if you're at a company and you don't get this stuff and you're hitting these numbers, it's kind of a no-brainer for you. So let me break down REALBroker's stock program. So we have 4 ways to earn free stock in the company. So similar to you guys, we have a stock purchase plan where before you cap, you can put 5% of your commission towards buying stock in the company, and we'll give you 10% free stock on top of that purchase. After you cap, you can put 10% of your commission towards buying stock in the company. We'll give you 20% free bonus stock on top of that purchase. Completely optional if you want to opt into this. The second way is simply by capping. When you cap right now, you get 150 shares of stock in the company. And the stock right now has been kind of fluctuating between $3 and $4 a share. So you can kind of do that math. And then when you attract an agent and they close their first transaction, you get 75 shares of stock in the company. Now, these 3 ways of earning free stocks, they are going to adjust these. And you see right here, it says up to 17,000 agents, which we actually just passed recently. And so, so far, every 1,000 agents that we hit, we are then reevaluating these. And the stock bonus is based on the number of agents in the company and the price of the stock itself. And we adjust this so that it's an incentive for early adoption. So really, you still have these kind of early adoption incentives where you're giving away more free stock. Once we hit 50,000 agents, 100,000 agents, like these 3 ways of earning stock are probably going to go down.
That was the same with eXp. I know that when they first started, you got more incentives for putting more money into the stock, and that has changed. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're still in that phase at REALBroker. We're kind of the early adopter incentive there. Now we have our elite agent program instead of icon agent, and this does not change. This is going to remain the same as it is. And with the elite agent program, you can earn up to $24,000 in free stock. And whereas eXp's was broken up into 3 different awards, ours is broken up into 2 different awards. First is going to be the performance award of $16,000. To hit this, you need a first cap, and capping is on average about 7 transactions. Then you need to either pay $6,000 in post-cap transaction fees, which is the most common way to do it, or have a GCI of over $500,000, so at least 10 transactions greater than $1 million in order to hit this. So if you're in a really specific luxury market, you can hit it. But most people hit it from hitting this transaction fee cap. And so $6,000 in post-cap transaction fees. Our transaction fee is $285. So that works out to 21 transactions after you cap. And about 7 transactions a cap. So about 28 transactions, and you earn the performance award of $16,000 in free stock. And you're also then eligible for the cultural award. To earn this, it says teach monthly topics in the Real Academy, give back to Real agent community, or give back to your local community. And what most of our elite agents do is they just teach a monthly mastermind or a monthly class or training in the Real Academy. And so altogether, that's $24,000 in free stock that you can earn every single year. So that's our stock program. So I think the next thing is going to be the revenue share. And let me pull that up for you. Do you want to kind of explain the revenue share program at eXp?
Yeah, so out of that 16,000, if you cap, then effectively 8,000 of that goes to the rev share program. And then what happens is that's then broken up into different agents. So if you bring on an agent to eXp, you get effectively paid for that and rewarded for that. So the first agent that you bring on, you earn up to 2,800. So if we effectively say that every agent that you bring on caps, as an example, you're going to earn 2,800 from the first one. They bring on someone else, it then gets higher to 3,200. So the idea is that you're incentivized to help them bring on people. And then it drops to 2, 1, 2, 800, 2,400. Now, one of the things to mention is that you can't just bring on one person and then bring on 1,000 people when you earn from those 1,000 people. They do want you to have a certain amount of people. You'll see that first tier agents needed. In order for you to qualify for the next tier, you need 5 people underneath you, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, for example. So the idea is you get a small percentage of their commission every time they do a deal up until the point that they cap. It's an unbelievable opportunity. Let's face it, both in Real and eXp, there are agents earning over $1 million a year. And it's incredible that people can do that. I'm very fortunate now that, I'm earning a good income from it. I know you are as well on your side at Real. And for me, this was one of, if not the main reasons why I joined, because I really enjoy helping other agents reach their full potential as agents and close lots of deals and change their lives in regards to how much money that they can earn and really help their families. So for me, I really enjoy, and this is why we talked about earlier why eXp and Real are a little bit different. I am heavily involved when someone comes in underneath me, and I will coach them and I will help them transform their lives. We've got a different system in England. And that's so now I'm mainly helping people in England, but I still help people in the US. But in England, we don't have a self-employed model. You just work for someone. And so eXp is a bit unique in England because there aren't really many companies that offer that service, where effectively you go and work for yourself, but you're under a bigger company. So we're having really massive success. And to give you a good idea, there was a guy, the guy who joined under me, he was earning around $70,000, $80,000 working for a company. He's now come on board, and last year he got Agent of the Year in the UK. And he earned, I think it was around 300,000. This year, it'll be probably pushing $500,000. Now, he's got someone underneath him who I'm helping as well. He's doing the same. Now, we've got 40 agents underneath Jonathan who joined under me in England. Bit different in England. You have to be an agent for 2 years in order to join eXp.
Oh, wow.
So you've only got the top agents joining eXp. You haven't got, and this is one of the negatives about probably any company in America, and why is the fact that you get these brand new agents sometimes joining people, and sometimes those agents maybe aren't that great sometimes, and then it devalues the reputation of the company. In England, it's amazing because you've got to be a really top agent. So those agents are always capping because they are, giving up a well-paid job quite often to then go self-employed. So in England, it's a bit different, very similar figures, but they're capping all the time. So I'm very fortunate that the people in England are doing really well, which then means that I do really well, and then I'm incentivized to help them. So we have monthly meetings all the time. I'm doing constant personal training videos as well as EXP stuff to help with them. So it's just a really good opportunity. And obviously, Real, you've got a really exciting opportunity because you're newer in the game. And I'll be completely honest, when I was moving back to the UK, I spoke to the people at Real and I said, are you setting up in the UK? Because Real I saw as an exciting opportunity. Getting in early with any of these things, getting in early is definitely a bonus. And they were like, no, we're not setting up in the UK. Whereas with eXp, one of the things to mention is we're an international company. We are in a ridiculous amount of countries. I don't even know how many it is around the world. And Real's still quite early. So the positive is, if you're in the US, you get in early, it's great. I'm in early in the UK. So we're killing it in the UK. And so I'm doing better in the UK with people joining than what I would be in the US, because the truth is, you'll probably look at the percentage, a lot of more people are joining Real in probably now than what EXP are in regards to growth rates, because you're early. We're early here in the UK. So I'm doing a great job in the UK. So it's one of those that it's a great opportunity with both, and it depends what you want from each company.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting. If you're one of the first eXp agents in the UK and you can really bring it to that market and kind of, show people what it's all about, that does sound like a pretty good opportunity. With as far as the rev share goes, I've heard some eXp agents say that it's willable, but maybe assumable, maybe a better term for that. Are you kind of familiar with the policies around if somebody passes away and like how somebody can assume their downline?
So you can't assume someone's downline, is my understanding of it. I don't think you can pass it on. That was my understanding of it. I might be completely wrong with that. Now, if someone within your downline leaves or whatever, for whatever reason, then you still get the downline below them. So say, for example, one person joins, they've got 50 below them, and then that person leaves, you still get those 50 people below that. So in that way, it is. But if, for example, I died tomorrow, I don't believe that, or I can sell it to someone else coming in. I don't believe that's possible.
So what I've heard before is that, let's say you passed away. Are you married?
Yes, I'm married. Yeah.
So what I've heard is that if your wife got her real estate license and joined EXP, she could then assume your position in that downline.
I didn't know that, but that's good. That's a positive in my opinion. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing. And so she'd have to be a real estate agent at EXP in order to assume that.
Yeah.
As far as recruiting goes, are there any restrictions or kind of rules or guidelines around that you're familiar with, of things that you can't do for recruiting?
Yes, there are obviously restrictions in regards to what you're allowed to do and what not you're allowed to do. Obviously, you've got to keep things legal for a start,
right?
And there's obviously certain things that you shouldn't be promising that you can't deliver on. But you obviously, if you have a coaching company and you normally, you can offer that for free, for example, if people join, is a good example. But they're not going to, allow people to go out and say, come and join the XP and I'll give you $50,000, or whatever it is. There are obviously limits with what you can and can't do. You've got more limitations than what we have, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me break down what REALBroker's revenue share looks like. So a couple of differences between ours and yours is we have 5 tiers instead of 7 tiers, right? And we essentially eliminated, how I look at it is that we eliminated the 7th tier at EXP, which is $4,000 a year. And instead, we just lowered everybody's cap by $4,000. So that's because we don't have that 7th tier is a big reason why we have a lower cap. We also eliminated the 6th tier, which was $2,000. And instead, we spread that $2,000 out over the first 5 tiers. So If you add up how much more we pay on the first 5 tiers, it adds up to exactly $2,000, which is what the 6th tier is. So it's kind of a decision like, do you want, 7 tiers and the money spread out along those tiers, or do you want to get paid more kind of at the top? And I feel like we've simplified the system quite a bit. So for example, your tier 1, you get paid 5% of every commission that agent closes until they cap. And so that is a maximum of $4,000 a year. So RealBroker takes 15% and they give 5% of that 15 to their sponsor. And then RealBroker keeps the other 10. Tier 2 is 4% of every agent every transaction until they cap, just up to $3,200 a year. 3% of every transaction until they cap, $2,400 a year. 2% of every transaction until they cap, $1,600 a year, and then 1%, which is up to $800 a year. So we've got this really simple 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 revenue share structure. And I just like how simple that is. And I like ours is weighted towards the top. So these are the easiest tiers to unlock, and you get paid out the most on these tiers. So like you guys, you need a certain number of producing agents in your tier 1 in order to qualify to unlock your different tier benefits. And at RealBroker, a producing agent is an agent that earns at least $3,000 in commission every 6 months. Should be pretty easy. And that can be in the form of referrals or rentals. And so if you have, 5, you need at least 5 to unlock your tier 2, 15 to unlock your tier 3, 20 to unlock your tier 4, 25 to unlock all 5 tiers of revenue share benefits. A couple other kind of unique things with our rev share is that ours is completely willable. So you can will your revenue share to a child, for example. So my son has real severe autism and intellectual disabilities. Like, he'll never have a job and he can't become a real estate agent. But if I pass away tomorrow, he'll continue to receive my revenue share in perpetuity. Another kind of unique benefit is that at RealBroker, you can actually list 2 different agents as your sponsor into the company. We call this co-sponsorship. And so when somebody joins, they could put 2 different people down, and the revenue share gets split between those 2 agents, and they now have 2 sponsors into the company. So a couple benefits to this. One is that most agents I talk to, they're talking to multiple agents at the company, right? That is actually incredibly common, to talk to multiple agents, and people get like analysis paralysis. They're like, well, I've been talking to 2 people. I don't know who I should put down as my sponsor, and it delays them from joining. So really, you don't have that anxiety. You can put 2 people down. I get a lot of new agents that reach out to me here about joining RealBroker. And what I always do with a brand new agent is I find another real agent in their local city, in their community, to co-sponsor them with, so that they have a local co-sponsor in their exact market. And I feel like this co-sponsor thing has really, it's again taken the emphasis off of what upline you're in and really just interconnected our community. And as far as restrictions, like, we do have a lot of restrictions on what you can do for sponsorship activities. So attraction activities. So you can't cold call, for example. Anybody you reach out, needs to be a warm lead. You need to know them somehow before you reach out to them and ask them questions about Real. You can't run paid advertisements. You can't do bait and switch training, like, hey, come to my YouTube training, and then really it's a 30-minute presentation about Real. And the biggest one is you can't promise anything of value in exchange for them putting your name down. So you can't say, hey, join me and I'll take you on, I take my downline on an annual vacation, or I throw these exclusive parties just for my downline, or you get access to my masterminds and my training. You can't do any of that at RealBroker. What I like about that is that the agents that are actually responsible for bringing people on are the ones that are going to get credit for it. With other models, you could be talking to your best friend about joining your company for, years. They finally join and they go and put somebody else down because that person is promising free training and free vacations and other free things. So I feel like it's just easier to build a downline here because you're not competing with other people giving away all this free stuff. And with the co-sponsorship, it just spreads that wealth out around. So more agents are going to receive more revenue share at RealBroker because of that. So I'm pretty happy with the rev share that we have here at Real.
I think it's one of those that it depends on your situation. I think by the way, the co-signing with two different people, I actually think is a genius idea, because there are situations where you would love to have someone come on under you and someone else, and they're under a different downline. And so I think that is a really good idea from Real. And I think that's probably one of the advantages of coming along and using a business model that works in eXp, and then coming along and seeing what worked, what you liked, and then adapting it like Real have done. At the same time, my argument would be that it was pretty life-changing for me joining under the person that I joined under eXp, the coaching that they provide. I mean, they would end up just training all of my ISAs for me. I would get an ISA, I'd bring them on, because I even started my own lead gen company where we generated leads and we gave them to other people for a referral fee. And he would train my staff up for me. If I got a new assistant, his assistant would train my assistant. If I got a new transaction coordinator, his transaction coordinator could help my transaction coordinator. So for me, it was a massive thing having that. Now in the UK, we've got something very, very similar that we have got going on here, where I'm helping coaching and we're doing so much with them. Now, one of the things I personally didn't like about Real was that I couldn't offer those services if I joined Real. There's a million things that I like about your company. You've mentioned a lot of them then. So I think it's what you want from joining a company, working that out. And then if I was looking as an agent in the US, I'd be looking to join one of these companies, and then it would be looking at the positives and negatives. We've been friends for a while. I know you well. If I was looking to join Real, I'd want to join under you. And hopefully, if there's anyone out there at eXp, reach out to me and I can talk to you about what we can provide.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, you definitely bring up a good point that it's, there is some value for some agents having kind of an upline that takes a vested interest in your, in your success. You're almost like business partners, in a way, in that sense. And kind of to your point, if you have coaching programs, like you can offer that to people at Real. You can still sell courses and sell coaching. You just have to charge for it. You can't give it to them in exchange for putting you in downline. I've seen people, they'll start teams, or we have marketing groups, where you can have a marketing group and charge everybody a certain flat fee to be part of your marketing group. And then they get access to all these different benefits, just not in exchange for joining your rev share, your downline. So let's wrap this up, and let's get some final thoughts. What out of all the things we listed, what most excites you about eXp?
For me, it's the revenue share that still really interests me. The fact that you can build a retirement that you don't have to go to work for, from just having people underneath you. Yes, I have a more vested interest than probably a lot of people do. I really enjoy helping people that are under me. But even if you just, like yourself, if you got hit by a bus tomorrow and you couldn't work again, you've got this business that runs itself.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go out and sell 1 million homes every single day to pay your rent. Or your mortgage. You can do it where it basically pays for itself from the people that you've helped join the company. So for me, I think that is the biggest reason why someone would want to join Real or eXp, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's great. For me, I'd say like the culture of the company is what really excites me. And I think that our culture here is a culture of innovation. For example, we're constantly pushing the boundaries and trying new things and trying to change the direction of this entire industry, which really excites me. I think we have a culture of being very tech focused, and we have some of the best technology in the industry, which I love. We have a culture of collaboration and having a strong sense of community. And then, even like the core values of this company are very in line with my own core values. Like I love this saying, work hard, be kind. Like that is one of my own core values. And I love working for a company that the core value of the company is about being kind. So for me, the culture and the community is kind of like the biggest things that attract me. And I think like everything else kind of falls beneath that. Like the culture influences the rev share, the stock program, the willable rev share, all of that kind of comes as a result of having a really positive, and innovative culture. So James, if anybody wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so probably the best one is now I've got an Instagram in the UK to do with my real estate. So I'd probably say reach out to that, which is JG_EXP. I'm also now a football agent, a soccer agent in the UK as well. That was one of my reasons for moving back. I've also, so that if you're interested in sport, you can follow me at Mr. James George. That is more of a personal one that's sport related. And follow, reach out LinkedIn, James George on LinkedIn. It's easy to find as well.
Great, man. I'll have links to all those in the description of the video. If you guys want to learn more about REALBroker, I'd love to hop on a one-on-one video call with you, have a conversation about, your business and see if Real would be a good fit for you. I have a link in the description where you can schedule a one-on-one video call with me. You can also follow me on Instagram at next.gen.agent. All right, James, I really appreciate your time today and all your wealth of knowledge about eXp.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. And it was really good chatting with you.
Yeah, you too. I'll see you.
Take care.